Yo, what is up guys? Mao here, live from Bali in my new little spot. Today's gonna be a bit of a different video because I'm going to break down literally the exact framework, plan, process, whatever that I've been selling and charging for and showing people how to do for the last few months while I've been in Bali, which is about how to build a brand that doesn't restrict who you are, where you can actually sell and monetize for, okay? This is literally what I've been doing the past year that I've been in Bali. It's how I've been making money here and doing what I love and building my brand without niching down and selling all sorts of things from spirituality to business to content creation, and it all actually making sense, right? While sharing the things that I like to share, while creating art and not feeling like I have to pretend to be anybody that I'm not, okay? So if this resonates, literally watch the fucking video because I'm actually breaking it down. I feel like before I would always tend to hold back or not want to share all this information because then nobody would buy. But I realized that's the wrong way to actually think and approach things. So I'm literally giving it all away. So watch to the end of the video because if you implement the stuff that I will tell you, you will literally be able to start building and creating the life that you want. And if you're already on the path, then this is going to unlock so many things about why your offer is not selling, why your content isn't hitting, why things aren't converting, okay? And it's because you're playing the wrong game. So I'm gonna put the camera down and I'm gonna sit down. I just wanted to do this little intro, but let's go. Alright, so I have just literally like bullet points here. So don't mind me if I'm looking at here, okay? Because I just want to make sure that I cover everything. Okay, so a little bit about me in case you don't know me. My name is Mao, and 12 months ago, just about, maybe a little bit less, I left Austin, right? And I moved to Bali. And this was probably one of the most pivotal moments of my life because it wasn't just me leaving Austin and moving to Bali, like I've already been traveling before, but it was me finally going all in on my brand, on what I was building, and on ultimately stepping into the life that I had been envisioning and wanting to live for so long, okay? I stopped doing all my freelance work. I shut down my AI agency. Every other opportunity that was being given to me, I said no. If it wasn't aligned with the life that I wanted to build, which was to be a creator and to build my own brand and business and help others, then I said no, all right? And I've still said no. I haven't taken any opportunity. Everything I've done this past year has been all through my brand, and it's all through what I'm about to share with you now, okay? I've launched multiple offers in the spirituality niche, helping people use AI to build their aligned life, and incorporating things like meditation and laws of reality and quantum physics and all these things that I'm genuinely so interested in, like creating your reality. And then after that, I went through this like spiritual second awakening where I realized like, okay, cool, I'm helping people build their aligned life and get out of their way and become the person that they feel like they're here to be. But then I'm not giving them the next step, right? Which is how to take this alignment and turn it into something real, how to actually go serve and help people, because the manifestation stuff is true, but you have to go serve and add value to the world, right? So then I launched this cohort called Aligned Creators, and I was helping people with their brand and their content and things like this, right? And then I started a school community. And then later I realized that I really liked the whole positioning thing. So I created a group to help people like literally package what they know into an offer and whatever. I'm getting kind of ahead of myself. All I'm trying to say is that I've basically done offers in spirituality, in reality creation, in content creation, in business, in offer creation. And I've done all of this through my one brand on Instagram without ever niching down and without ever feeling like I was boxed in or like I couldn't do it. Like, it all made sense because I built my brand around my worldview and my ideas and not a niche, okay? And I'm literally still doing this in real time. Right now, I am pivoting in a way to helping creators build their personal brand by building a personal world, okay? Not by niching down, not by doing all these things. And this is literally just a continuation of everything that I've been doing, right? Because I'm building Flow OS, where I'm incorporating things like meditation and alignment and building from who you really are, but then actually how to translate it into the world in a way that actually works by showing and sharing the things that I've done to actually do this. So as you can see, because I built my brand around my worldview and around who I am and around my ideas, I've been able to slowly pivot and move in different directions while it's still making sense and everything fitting under the same world. And that's why things have sold and why I've been able to do what I do without ever boxing myself in or pretending that I have things figured out. Now I just have more experience and I know more things, so I can share more knowledge. But I'm only ever sharing the things that I've actually learned and have been able to figure out myself. So you can see, if you go on my page, if you follow me, like, I'm just stumbling my way through everything, all right? I'm not saying I have everything figured out, but this is what's worked for me. And this is literally what I'm doing right now in this moment to continue to build Flow OS. So here's the biggest problems that I have faced myself and that I see when I scroll on social media, right? It's that everywhere you look about building a personal brand and making money, right? This is not about building a personal brand to be an influencer or to have brand deals or to just share about your life and not make money, okay? I'm specifically talking about the advice you hear for building a personal brand where you can sell a product or a service, right? Whether that's coaching, whether that's a digital product, whether that's a community, anything where you're providing value in the form of information and that you want to make money, all right? This is the only thing that I'm actually talking about. So the advice that you hear for this is most of the time, 99% of the time, telling you to niche down and to pick one thing, to be clear about who you help and about who you serve and about what you do, right? Whether that's breathwork or nervous system regulation or content creation or storytelling or helping somebody get 10,000 followers in 30 days or helping somebody make their first $10,000, right? Like, you want to have the clear outcome and the clear path and the clear thing, right? So what they tell you to do is to post value. You see it all the time, these carousels that are very well designed, right? People probably spend a lot of time on these carousels. I know I do, on these different kinds of carousels. But all it is like, here's the 10 things I do, or here's the 5 ways to blah, blah, blah. Here's my 5-step morning routine and blah, 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 okay? And I'm not hating on this at all, but here's what happens when you do this, is that you get a bunch of people commenting fire emojis and saying, wow, this is so cool. But then you go to make an offer, you go to invite people into something that you're doing, you're trying to sell, right? You're giving away free value and free information because your goal is to sell, but then nobody actually buys. Nobody clicks the link in your bio. If you do get somebody on a call, they tell you they have to think about it, right? Why is that? When somebody lands on your page and they see, oh, I am a coach and I help people with this, blah, 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 they lump you in with all the other coaches that sell the same thing, right? And because of how many coaches there are, people have this preconceived notion of what that means and of what you're trying to do. And then you're trying to think of like, oh, what should I post? What's trending right now? What do people want to hear? What's going to make people buy? But then when it comes down to it, nobody wants to buy. And it's because nobody knows who you are or what you stand for or what your world is about, right? And the people that you relate to and identify with the most aren't the ones that are the most niched, okay? They're the ones that are the most coherent, where they can talk about anything and everything, but it all comes from the same world, right? You know that it belongs in that world. And because you identify with the worldview, then you naturally want to join the things that they offer, the things that they create, okay? So let me break down the plan of how you can actually go do this yourself, okay? Here's phase one, all right? This is the most important phase because this is where everything is built on, okay? First, before you start posting, before you do anything, you have to go inwards, all right? You have to go in and you have to extract all the things about you that make you you, all right? This is where it's good to know yourself, right? To know what you stand for, to know like how you were raised and what values you had when you were growing up, right? What are the things that you feel strongly about? What is your story? Where do you come from, right? What is the things, the different little quirks about you that make you you, right? It's not about choosing one thing. It's about owning every single part of you, but finding the common thread that threads everything that you do. Like for me, I studied engineering, right? But I was also a music producer, and I used to make YouTube video content when I was like 12 years old, like silly little dancing videos. And then I got into music production, right? But then I was also studying engineering, and then I had an engineering job, but then I quit, and then I learned how to do copywriting, and I learned how to make money online. And then I was making YouTube videos, and like all these things, like I've done so many different things, but the common thread throughout everything has been refusing to live a life that I didn't want to live, that wasn't in alignment with who I am, right? Refusing to split myself and water down different versions of myself to be and create the life that I actually want. Like that is the one core thread that has been alive in everything that I do. And if you realize it, that's literally what I've built my brand around, which is living a life of alignment, right? Or refusing to split myself. Like these are all the themes and the ideas that I've built my entire brand around. And that's why everything that I've done fits under the same world, right? But everything is connected in that way. So the first phase, the first step that you have to really go through is you have to go inwards, okay? Look at your story, look at your upbringing, look at your patterns, go into things like human design, right? Go into things like gene keys and personality tests, like 16 personality, enneagrams, numerology. All of these things are such valuable tools to understand yourself better, right? Throw it into AI, ask it questions. This was literally what my whole first program, Step Into Flow, is all about. It's putting all these things in there and seeing the life that you could live if you're living as the most actualized version of yourself, right? And you allow yourself to be who you actually are and you stop fighting yourself, right? All of these things, all of the things that maybe you've been suppressing, all of the things that you thought were weird or that people wouldn't accept you as, or like the traumas that you've been through, the pain, the hardships, like all of these things are what makes you who you are. Right? And these are the things that once you fully lean into is what's going to attract the people that resonate with this, right? So before you do anything, you have to get clear. What are your values, right? What do you stand for? What do you stand against, right? What is everybody doing in your niche, if you want to call it, like we'll use the term here, that you don't agree with, right? Like for me, this has all been part of my journey. Like when I was like deeper into the spirituality niche, I noticed that people were just spiritually bypassing. So I started talking about that, right? About how like I don't agree with that and how manifestation comes from providing value to others and you have to like go serve and like live your life and have fun, right? So that was a very hot topic that I was talking about because that's what I stood for, and that got me a bunch of followers and attention and just like resonance, right? People resonating with what I'm sharing. Now I'm very much clearly opposing what everybody's saying about building a personal brand, about niching down. That's probably why you're here, right? Because I'm leaning into it, and this is all based off my story, so it comes so naturally for me to talk about because I don't have to try, I don't have to manufacture everything. I've always refused splitting myself. That's why I built everything that I have, right? So you have to find the things that make you you, that you stand for, that you can just literally talk about because it's who you are, right? And this will be the foundation of everything that you start to build on, right? So that is phase one. Take a minute, map out your entire life story. What were like the pivotal moments that you've been through, right? What shaped you, okay? And again, I'm reiterating the same point, but like, what do you stand for and what do you stand against? All right, that is the most important thing. And what you decide on now doesn't have to be what you decide on later. That's the beauty about building a world, is that it evolves with you over time, right? And it's just a iteration of where you are right now on your journey, okay? So phase two. Once you do a deep dive, right, of who you are, the kind of person that you are, everything you've been through, the stories, what shaped you, what you believe, what you stand for, what you stand against, you need to just define it, right? So you need to get clear on who your world is for, right? What it stands for and what the enemy is. Those are like the most important things, okay? There's more, but those three things are going to set you above and apart everybody else when you actually go to share who you are and your story and build your brand online, okay? So first is like, who belongs in your world? This is gonna be people that are just like you, right? The same archetype of person as you. For me, the people that belong in my world are people that don't want to split themselves, right? Like the artists and the creators of the world, people that want to make money, but they want to do it in a way that feels true to them, right? People that want to create their own reality and that want to live a different life than what's typically given, right? The script that was handed to them. So these are the people that belong in my world, and this just comes from who I am, right? From being an outcast, from being a rebel, from refusing to live a mediocre life, right? These are all the things that make up who I am, and these are the exact kind of people that belong in my world. So when I talk about this, the people that feel that are going to resonate, right? And they're going to resonate with what I'm sharing, and they're going to feel like they belong in my world, right? So once you get clear on this, you have to come up with like the big ideas of your world, because once you start building this way, you're not competing on information, you're not selling information, you're selling ideas, okay? Because people buy into ideas before they ever buy anything else. If you can get somebody to buy your idea, then they will naturally want to join the solution that you are presenting for your idea. Okay, so for example, when I first came to Bali, the idea that I kind of built everything around was alignment over force, like literally 2 words and a symbol, right? And if you really think about it, like this one idea says, I'm for living a life of alignment, I'm against forcing things, and I believe that when you're aligned, everything flows. So I'm also basically giving the solution, or like the mechanism of what this thing is. It's like, this is what we believe, that I want to build a life of alignment. This is where I'm going. This is what I stand for. I'm against forcing things and these like super crazy 5 a.m. morning routines. And that's literally said in just 2 words and a symbol. So if somebody reads this and they don't agree with it, they're like, nah, I'm a fucking hustle bro, and like I force everything and everything works out for me this way. Then like, cool. That's not who I'm attracting, right? That's not the kind of person that I want in my world. So this literally becomes a filter, right? But that's why you have to get so clear on what you stand for, what the world stands for, right? The kind of people that belong, and then what you're rejecting, right? So now my world, it still is about alignment, right? But because I didn't really want to use that language anymore, I've kind of evolved it into saying like, all of you, one life, right? Like you can live, all of you, in one life. All of you can fit in one life, right? And that's also saying like, you shouldn't have to split yourself to live the life that you want. Everything should fit under one umbrella, right? That's kind of like the core thesis of my entire world now. And a really good indicator of knowing if you have a good idea is if people start saying it back to you, okay? So recently I posted about like, don't build a personal brand, build a personal world, and people have been saying like, yo, I want to build my personal world. Like that's an idea, right? This girl, I just saw she posted all of you, one life in her bio, and I'm like, yo, that's sick. She like was just using it because she resonated with it. So it's like, that's how you know when you're catching on to like good ideas, when like other people actually start using them, okay? So at the end of this phase, you basically want to be clear, who belongs in my world, what do I stand for, and what do I stand against? And you want to try to condense it down into like a short line that instantly says all of this in like the least amount of words. Like it should be able to fit on a t-shirt, it could fit in your bio, right? Because this literally acts as a filter for anybody who lands on your page, right? It's like the idea of a 4-hour work week, like by that book. It's like selling the idea that you can literally work 4 hours a week and like still make a ton of money. You know what I mean? So you want to try to get your idea in a very simple term that encapsulates all those three things, right? Because once people buy into your idea, it's kind of like, if you think about it like a funnel, not in the traditional sense, but like you capture way more people with the idea, and then only later is the offer, like the implementation of that idea, right? When I was building everything around alignment over force, well, guess what my offer was? It was helping you get aligned, helping you become the person that is the most aligned, because that's when everything starts to flow. So the offer is just like the way, it's the plan to help people achieve the outcome of the idea that you're selling. Does that make sense? So like the 4-hour work week, it's like, okay, cool, I buy into this idea, so then how do you actually do it? And then you sell the plan. You see what I'm saying? So you want to get your idea like really crystal clear, so that way your offer, your product, your service is just the bridge from where they are now to the outcome of the idea that you're selling. Like for example, All of You One Life is to build an integrated life. So Flow OS is the plan. This is the plan. I'm showing you how to build an integrated life by building a world on social media where you don't have to split yourself and you can actually make money, okay? So phase 3 is where you want to take all of this and you want to create a content plan, and I'm saying this loosely, okay? That reinforces your worldview in every post, okay? Because it's like I mentioned earlier, is that it's not about being just authentic, and it's not about niching down and providing value, but you want to become coherent, right? So you want everything you post to reinforce who belongs in your world, the kind of person that this is for, right? What you stand for, what you stand against, and like helping people that are just like you kind of get to the point of what you're ultimately offering, right? So different kinds of posts that you can do is like, okay, what is your story, right? But like, what is your, like, tell your story through the lens of why you view the world the way you do. Like, what were the pivotal things that happened to you, right? Like, where are you now in your journey? What are you moving towards, right? This is how you start to like create a movement, and you can talk about it. You can either make series, or you can just share your story. Like for me, I'm talking about like building a world, so I want to get people to identify with world building. So you can talk about like, yo, what is the world builder code, right? It's like, well, we create content around what we believe and who we are, not around what we do. And then you kind of create this like identity where people identify and resonate with it, right? And they want to be a world builder in this sense. So it's like, what is the identity and what is the world that you're creating? And then every post just reinforces that, right? So you want to talk about your philosophy, the way you view the world. What do you do and what do you wear, and like what are the values that you have in your world, right? Like today I posted a video where it's like, it's just me here in Bali loading up my surfboard, but I'm saying I don't care about shoes and watches and cars. I just want to be barefoot, ride a scooter and surf and build something meaningful, right? Like these are all different things, and it's like, it's what I'm doing, it's how it's me living my life, right? But I'm putting it through the lens of my world and who belongs in my world. So that way you create identity and you create resonance for people. And whenever you do share something valuable, it's not value in these like 3 tips or 5 steps or all this stuff, because really like nobody wants to hear this. Nobody actually implements this stuff. What you want to do is provide value through your perspective, right? Through your ideas, through your insights. So this is how you can literally live your life, learn things, and then document it and share it as you go. But you give little nuggets of wisdom, you give insights, you give people perspective shifts on how to look at things differently, on like how to shift their mindset around a problem that you have, that you've been through. You know what I mean? And that's way more valuable, and that's actually what ends up creating people that ultimately buy, because you're not just giving people like 10 steps and free value and then them feeling like they need to go implement it and then they don't even like need you. You know what I mean? It's like you give people what to think, and then your program ends up becoming how. Right? So I'm telling people, build a personal world, right? Like do all these things, and then you offer the implementation, like, well, here's how to do it, right? Here's the path, here's the plan. So you want to go from creating value, which is just like, oh, here's my perfect morning routine. It's like, no, talk about why you wake up at the time you do and like how this benefits you, and like why trying to force yourself into a morning routine is actually what's preventing you from like finding your own flow. Like that's an insight, right? And that's from my own lived experience. I can be like, as soon as I stopped doing this, like everything started to work for me. And now you're giving people like a new insight, a new perspective on like how to approach their problems, okay? And each one of those things like gets people to identify more and more with you and with your world, but it's coming from your real lived experience. So like you're never actually performing, you're never actually faking anything. It's just who you are, right? And this is how content just becomes fun, and how you never run out of things to say or to talk about, because you're just sharing things from your real life experience, okay? But you have to look at it from the lens of like reinforcing your worldview in everything that you post, okay? That's phase 3. Something that you can try right now is like talk about your story, about why you view the world the way you do, like what's your philosophy on life, what is the problem that you're ultimately trying to solve for your life, right? What is like the thing that you don't like? What are things that you disagree with that other people are doing, right? Whether that's in your quote unquote niche or in your industry or in your space that you don't agree with, right? And why? Share your values, share your opinions. That's what people will resonate with. And then share like what you're working towards, right? That's so you can create like a little mini movement, and then you can invite people to join, okay? So those are just some ideas, right, of how you can, create content to start reinforcing your worldview, right? Think about like what are the little quirks that you have, right? Like I love lighting incense and like literally walking barefoot, so that's why I made that one video. And it's like people that resonate with that are gonna be like, yeah, fuck yeah, me too. You know what I mean? So these are all ways that you can think of like just you living your life and you doing the things that you're doing become content that reinforces the worldview, because it's all based on you. And lastly is you build the ecosystem, or you build the offer, right? Or you build a way for people to come in closer into your world, right? This could be like starting a newsletter, or creating like a school community that has like a shared goal or like a shared movement, right? Or creating a cohort, or creating a program, or even doing a one-on-one. Like it doesn't really matter, but what you want to do is that you want to give people that like are identifying with your world a way to come in deeper and a way to like get more ingrained in your world, right? The beautiful thing is like if you do this right, if you're constantly reinforcing your worldview in every post, then you slowly start to get people like orbiting your world, right? I talked about this recently. Like it's not about moving people from this like top of funnel to bottom of funnel. It's just about getting people orbiting your world, right? Because that is through repetition how you start to, for lack of better words, like program people into believing what you want them to believe, like into what you believe, right? And then when people are really identifying with what you're sharing, all you need to do is make an invitation, right? And you show them the plan. Yo, I'm putting a group together, I'm getting a community together, I'm doing this, and like here's what we're doing, and you invite them in and you invite them to join into your like little mini movement, into your world. And the people that are closest to your world, that identify with your story and your philosophy and your personality and like who you are going to most likely want to join the path. Like as long as you have a good plan or like a good mission or a good movement that you're creating, right? This is how you can start a community. You can do an event, a retreat, It doesn't matter, right? Because people already identify with you. That's like more than 60% of the game. Now, all you have to do is invite people. And this is how I've been able to sell offers with a Google Doc without these fancy funnels and sales calls and all this stuff, because people already identify with the world. So that's basically the 4 steps. First you extract, then you define, then you reinforce through content, and then you build, right? Then you build the infrastructure. This is like what I've done. First, I launched a program on spirituality and alignment, and then it pivoted, right? But now that became like a digital product that lives inside my world. And then now I'm doing this, and it all just fits neatly under my world. And then later, I can do events, I can do retreats, right? I can like have a clothing line, and it all fits under the same philosophy, right? Like if you think about it, people buy clothing because of who they become and what it says about them. Like when you buy Nike, it makes you feel like an athlete, right? You want to go fucking play basketball or go to the gym. Or when you buy Patagonia, it's because you feel like you are an outdoorsy person, okay? So that's when you move and people join because of who they become or what it says about them to actually join your world. And you move into the lane of creating belonging, which is one of one. Right? If somebody else is selling the same information or the same thing, but they have a completely different worldview and the kind of people that belong in their world are just different because they're different, then you're not competing, right? It's completely different. So this is what literally makes you one of one. It makes you unique, but it also makes you coherent, right? People know if they belong in your world as soon as they come to your page, to your brand. Okay, so this is literally the 4 phases. This is exactly how it works. This is how I've done it, and this is how I'm continuing to do it in real time. You can literally go and apply this and do it yourself, and you will get results. Like this is actually how it works. But this is literally what Flow OS is, where I'm breaking down exactly how to do it, and I'm taking people and creators and helping them extract and define and reinforce and then build the infrastructure of their world. And the cool part is I'm literally doing this in real time as I build Flow OS, right? So I'm literally just going to be sharing exactly what I'm doing and how I approach building Flow OS and building the world that I'm creating so that you can do it too, okay? So that's basically it. If you want to join the cohort, DM me the word sauce, okay? If it's not June 22nd, I'll get you in. If it is past June 22nd, then I will add you to the waitlist for the next time that we open doors. So that's it, and much love. Mwah.